Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be indirect ways women friend zone weak, gullible, and clueless men. So I've got to email this particular guy, met a girl online about 2 months ago. They went out on about 6 dates total. And he sent me 2 emails. He sent one about a week or two ago. And you could after the end of the 6th date, he's waiting. I guess they were a lot of kissing, a lot of heavy petting. She's probably thinking, finally, this guy's gonna make a move and take me home. So he goes and waits for her to get her Uber, or then puts her in a car. And then like 5 minutes later, she sends this text exchange basically saying, "Why didn't you take me home?" And challenging him. And this is stuff I talked about in 3% Man. It's like, if you continue to go out on dates with a woman and then you never try to seduce her, or even worse, some guys go out, they never kiss her, never try to do anything. Eventually, she's going to realize you're inexperienced and you don't know what you're doing. Or number 2, you lack the confidence. Or number 3, they might start to think that you're gay and you're just not into women. And the longer you go out with a woman, you don't make a move, eventually she's just going to see you as a platonic friend, that you don't have the balls to go for it, if you will. So he gets upset with the messages she sent him. And then so it brings up a good point, because then she tries to friend zone the guy the next day. He says no to friend zone, and then he turns right around and agrees to do something that's basically platonic. And so if you've displayed weakness, or if you're going out with a girl and she's just kind of like, she could take it or leave it, she's not that into you, and then you make some mistakes like this guy did, and then she tries to put you in friend zone, you got to remember is that just because you say no and you politely decline does not mean it's over. If the woman sensed weakness in you, she's going to try a bunch of different ways to get you to comply, to test your strength, to see if you're strong or if you're weak and compliant. And this guy didn't realize it, but he was basically weak and compliant. So I'm going to go through the text exchange here, because this is really important. This is going to come up, especially if you're dating somebody and you made a bunch of mistakes and displayed a lot of weakness. Because a beta male will agree to be put in friend zone, figuring, hey, I'll get another chance later when she feels better, or she's ready to date again, or women use all kinds of excuses. But she's pretty clever in the indirect way that she goes about it. So just imagine they're on a date, all over each other, kissy poo, holding hands, heavy petting. She's thinking, finally, this guy's going to make a move. And then he puts her in an Uber car, and she goes her way and he goes his. 5 minutes later, she sends him this. And she says, "Why didn't you take me home?" And he says, "What's your postcode?" And she says, "Too late, I'm already home." And then he says, "Okay, I'm just waiting for my Uber. If you change your mind, let me know." And she says, "No, I am not going to change my mind. What you did was unattractive, as you can't make up your mind," with an upside down smiley face. So right there, she's calling him out for being indecisive, not being masculine, not being a man, and not going for what he clearly, obviously, is interested in. So she's basically saying he's soft. He's a pussy. In my Brazilian feminine accent. And then the next morning, he texts her back and he says, "Wow, not cool." So he gets butthurt about it. But she's tweaking his balls because he's acting weak. And as I talk about in 3% Man, a man's job in the courtship is to create an opportunity for sex to happen, to hang out, to have fun, and to hook up. And so all the signs are there. He's getting the girl all revved up, and then he doesn't even try to take her home. And so what happens is she's just like, this guy's a bitch. So here's his latest email. He says, "Hi, Corey. Just wanted to send an interesting update. I stood my ground and was firm but kind. But she's being inconsistent. Still seems to think she's not in the wrong, and no change in being open or understanding." Yeah, this is like, it's gone right over his head. He has no idea what's going on. He says, "I called her and we spoke on the phone for about 45 minutes. I was firm but kind. I apologize for not communicating better, as that night I was exhausted and just wanted to go home, but felt bad when I saw her text and wanted to go and pick her up. I mean, at the end of the day, you wanted to go home and sleep. And so that should have been what it was, not change your mind because you're trying to please her, which is more weakness. If you really wanted to go home and go to sleep, all you would have had to say when she said, "Why didn't you take me home?" I would have said, "I know." She's like, "I'm sorry. I'm just really super exhausted. I wanted to go to. The only thing I'm thinking about right now is going to sleep. But I'll definitely make it up to you next time we see each other. Have a great night." That's all he would have had to say. But instead, his text exchange realized, first he tries being a pleaser, which is more weakness, and then he gets butthurt, which is even more weakness. You're supposed to be unperturbable. Nothing bothers you. She was calling him out in a playful way, and he took it the wrong way. Love is playful and fun. It's not angry or butthurt or easily offended, and he got butthurt and easily offended. It's super important because you're communicating subtle things, whether you realize it or not, whether you agree with it or not. She's testing his strength because she's starting to go, this guy's kind of a pussy. He's a pussy. Memories. So he says, I expressed how I felt she was rude and disrespectful, and her response, which was not okay. And he says, I explained what values were important to me: communication, respect, and kindness. Again, he took it as a personal slight, which it was, but you just don't get butthurt over this. He made a big ordeal out of nothing. Total feminine energy. This should be the woman talking this way, and he should be like, just come on over. She was shocked and said nobody had told her that before, and simply kept saying, thanks for sharing. I am sorry you feel that way. He says, which is not an apology. He's still mad. He's still mad. See, this is, guys get in these situations and you want to argue and you want to win the argument. Even if you win, you lose. She said she was just being direct. I said we should meet up to talk about this, offering her to come over for dinner. Well, that's the right response. It's like, yeah, we can get together and talk about it over dinner. But he made it, really, it was something that was kind of nothing and blew it up into a big ordeal. She refused, so now this is, again, more testing of his strength, and he has no idea that this is actually happening. She's testing to see if he's compliant, because now she's thinking, this guy's just too weak. He's too weak to go for what he wants, obviously. She doesn't want to be with a weak guy. Number one most important thing to women that they find attractive in men is confidence. And he's displaying no confidence with this. So she tries an indirect approach to friend zoning him, and he doesn't realize it, but he complies. She refused and said to meet up only during the day. Well, what do we say in 3% Man about that? For a coffee to try and build a friendship. So he responds correctly. He says, I refuse, saying I only do coffee in the day with friends and not with a girl I am going out with, and told her to get in touch if she changed her mind. She triple texted me that same night asking to meet with me to talk more. I would have just said, well, great. When are you free to get together? We'll make dinner and we can talk about it. If you play your cards right, maybe you get a little extra kissy poo. She wanted to meet on Saturday, but I had already planned to meet my friend that evening, so I only had 1 to 2 hours to spare. What is a man's job in the courtship? To create an opportunity for sex tap, not to get together, hang out, have some drama, and then go their separate ways while he goes and does his other plans. Not following the book. This ain't your girlfriend, dude. You haven't even slept with her yet. He says, I told her, let me check with my friend to see if he minded rescheduling. So now he wants to break his plans with his friend to accommodate her, which is more weakness, which changing his plans to match hers, that's right out of the book. This is something you don't do. Again, these are little things. You got a power play going on here. She thinks this guy is too weak to date, and therefore she doesn't trust his masculine core, and she's testing to see what he's really made of. And he's just, he's falling all over himself and has no idea what's going on because he didn't read the book 10 to 15 times. He's basically acting like an overly emotional chick instead of a man and just handling things. This is such a simple thing. But it's the women that typically tend to go, oh, this little thing will, ah! But instead, he's acting like the woman here. She said, don't worry, she will see me, and then I can go meet my friend. Should have never done that. We met, sat on a bench. Remember, he says, hey, come over for dinner, because then seduction can happen. And so now she's trying to see how compliant he is with something platonic. Remember, she tried to friend zone him. He said no. But what does he do? He agrees to meet her during the day and sit on a bench together in a neutral area. It's like the same thing as a coffee date. You just told her you don't do these things, but yet she asked you a different way and you agreed to it. See how that works? He has no idea that he agreed. He says, I'm not interested in friendship, but then what's he do? He goes and does something platonic with her. This is how women test your compliance to see if you're soft. And he's displaying all kinds of softness here. Got to cancel his plans with the friends, asked her to dinner. She says lunch. She says, I don't do that. I don't do friendship thing. And then yet he goes and sits on a bench with her before he's going to meet his friend, doing something platonic, which is the exact opposite of what he said he was down with. We met, sat on a bench, and I told her what she did was not cool. I'm still butthurt about it. He didn't say that, but he might as well have. And explained how I valued communication, respect, and kindness. Sounds kind of like a replay of the last conversation. He says, when I asked her what she thought, she simply said, I already said what I wanted to say. He says, isn't this strange? It's like, no, not at all. You don't understand women. You didn't follow instructions and read the book 10 to 15 times. So I hope you enjoy the blue balls. Congratulations. She was the one who wanted to talk. Well, you were the one that said you weren't interested in friendship, and here you are sitting on a park bench working to grow your case of blue balls. He says, we went to an exhibition, and she was distant at first, but started touching me and became more affectionate throughout. But towards the end, she became cold again and simply left without a hug or anything. Yeah, because you were turning her stomach, because at the end of the day, you said, I'm not interested in friendship, and then you go hang out and do something platonic where there can be no seduction because you're going to go meet your friend. See how that works? See how that works, class? Any thoughts, coach? Did I overreact? Yeah. I felt disrespected. You shouldn't have got butthurt over that. She was calling you out. She's basically saying, you know, every time I want to say something, I go, gee, is this going to get my video demonetized or not? It's like, it didn't used to be this way. I hate this. I don't like it, but... So, you're just basically being a pussy. I felt respected, but I didn't lose my cool and was firm and kind. Oh, you lost your cool, dude. I explained my values. It's like, not about your values, dude. It's about the fact that you weren't acting like a man and she called you out on it. And she just, that's why she said, I already said what I want to say. And in her mind, she's communicated, but you're clueless and you don't get it because you don't understand women and you don't understand how to ask the right questions. And none of this should ever even happen because you were a lousy student. You got burned. I explained my values, told her she shouldn't speak to people that way. Oh, man. It was open to talk about it. He's all about winning this. You're not winning, dude. All you're doing is digging yourself a hole. When you find yourself in a deep hole, quit digging. Nope, he just keeps digging. We haven't spoken since the last museum date. It's been 3 days. Should I reach out? Nope. Because if you reach out, you're basically agreeing to more platonic things. And going to a museum date during the day, it's like, you just said you weren't interested in being friends, and you go and you do a museum date. It's like, no seduction is going to happen when you're going to the museum during the day, typically. That's why she was mad. That's why you got no hug, you got no love at the end of the date. She was just like, oh, he's clueless. She said something similar before, but I thought she was just joking or having a bad day. No, she was calling you out because you were a pussy, a pussy. When we go out, I also feel like she constantly tries to lead and control things. Yeah, because you're soft. Sometimes challenging me. Yeah, because she senses and feels your weakness and she doesn't like it. This is what women do. They're looking for weakness. And you're just like flailing all over the place and you have no idea what's going on. In her work, she feels the need to be strong, dominant, and lead. See, now he's making excuses and rationalizing it. She also grew up without a dad. that doesn't mean anything. Maybe she's messed up. It's totally possible. The reality is girls that grow up without a dad tend to be more messed up. That's a factor of life. But maybe she's not. But based on what you've shared here, I can see you've displayed weakness and you have no idea that's going on. And she pushed you into friend zone and she stopped reaching out because she's over it. So if I were you, I would do nothing. I wouldn't call or text her again for any reason. If you hear from her, invite her over to your house to make dinner together. Then hang out, have fun, and hook up. Or, I mean, maybe you haven't said anything that you're ultra religious or anything. It just seems like you kind of don't know what you're doing. You cherry pick some videos. Maybe you skim the book, or maybe you haven't even read it at all. But I say constantly, read it 10 to 15 times. This is why I pointed out all throughout your email, all the little mistakes you were making that were making you look weak and soft in her eyes. She's calling you out. She's called you out multiple times, but you're not getting the message. She's just basically saying to you, be a man. Be a man. Be a man. And you're wanting to argue with her. So if she, again, I wouldn't take her out or pick her up or agree to lunch. And if she does reach out, she'll probably try to get you to agree to something platonic. And you got to stand firm. Don't go to a park bench. Don't meet her out. Don't go for coffee. Invite her for dinner. If she doesn't want to come over for dinner, just say, hey, it's been a long week. I'm just in the mood to hang at my place. If you don't want to come over and make dinner, then, hey, give me a call or text me in a couple weeks and, maybe I'll be up for meeting you out then. But you might not hear from her for a while just because this girl gave you 2 months and you dithered and you hesitated and you went nowhere. So that's on you. Got to be a better student, man. Say it all the time. But, hey, this was a good email for everybody else to learn from. So you're going to help a lot of dudes avoid the mistakes that you made, and you had no idea you were even making them. So if you got a question or a challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.